Hey, the Deep Inspiration Hub here. Today I'm going to be introducing you to one of my favorite projects in the Deep space, and this project is called the ANyONe protocol. Probably you heard about this project before. They used to be called ATOR, so they had a complete rebrand of the project, their name and also their token from ATOR to what is now called ANyONe. So what they also had is that they also had a change in their tokens. So the token used to be called ATOR or ATOR protocol, and then now the new token is called ANyONe protocol. By the way, if you hold any ATOR protocol, please make sure that you migrate your token from the old ATOR protocol to the new ANyONe protocol. The migration is very easy. Also here on their homepage, when you click on the token migration, it would be possible for you to do the migration. So what I'm going to talk about in this video is to introduce the ANyONe protocol, explain a little bit about how it works from a concept perspective, show you how you can participate in this project by either buying the hardware or by setting up your virtual node, and also give you a general overview about what the rewards could look like. So what is ANyONe protocol? ANyONe protocol is basically building decentralized privacy and data layer. So most of the time when people are trying to explain what the ANyONe protocol is, in layman's time, we always say it's a decentralized VPN service. But basically this is a bit different from how a classical VPN works. So for instance, if you're browsing on the internet, your ISP typically sees everything that you're doing. So whatever websites that you are visiting, whatever you are buying and stuff like that, they basically are able to track this data. Now what happens is that if you have a VPN, so for instance I'm using ExpressVPN, what typically happens is that they have a centralized server where your data that is coming from your device is basically channeled through before it gets to your ISP. The same thing also happens, whatever you are receiving passes through the server before it gets back to you. So the advantage typically here is that your ISP does not see what you are doing, so basically it gives you a bit of a privacy. Now this is not really a classical privacy network because basically, like I said, your VPN provider knows whatever you're doing, but your ISP just does not know. So if your VPN provider wants to screw you up, they can basically expose whatever traffic that you are generating on your devices. Now this is where the technology that the ANyONe protocol guys is using come as a huge advantage. Instead of your data being channeled through a centralized VPN server somewhere, your data is hopped through, or your traffic is hopped basically through 3 independent relays. So first, your data is hopped onto a first relay that is called the entry relay. Then the entry relay basically encrypts the data and sends this over to a middle relay, and the middle relay also encrypts the data and sends it to a third relay. So technically it is more or less impossible to be able to know whatever data or whatever traffic is being channeled through the relays unless a single person owns these 3 relays. And this is where the concept of decentralization comes in. So the more relays that are out there, the lower the probability that a single person would be able to own these 3 relays that are going to be used to channel the data, so to be able to know whatever traffic the user is generating. Now these guys have had a huge success already in this concept. They used to spin up a lot of Tor relays. So Tor is basically this is also similar to what they are using. It's called the onion routing. So what basically happens is that there are a lot of volunteers out there who are setting up Tor relays, right, so that their relays can just be used to traffic information. But most of the time those who are setting up these Tor relays do not get paid, so they're doing this on a voluntary basis. So the ATOR protocol at that time, they was called ATOR, basically came up with this new concept that we all know in Deep, that you let people set up these relays, and then you get those people who are setting up these relays get paid. So the Tor network did not like this concept because this is quite crazy. The guys, so the ATOR protocol guys, increased the number of Tor relays by about 20% within just a few months. And obviously the Tor network did not like this sort of idea, so they sort of detached themselves from the ATOR protocol guys, and already these guys had already thought about to become independent, and this is what basically led to the build-up of the whole ATOR or ANyONe protocol network. Now they are not just building a decentralized layer through which data can be channeled, they also have what is called this ANyONe protocol SDK. And the idea of this SDK is that several projects can be able to channel their traffic through this SDK, basically getting their traffic anonymous. So the ATOR protocol guys have had huge partnership with a lot of projects out there. So they have some partnership with Peak, they have some partnership with gaming, they also have a partnership that I know with IoTex, they also have a partnership with ANyONe and stuff like that. Now this is not a surprise because we know that the VPN industry is a huge market. So typically the VPN used to have a bit of a bad tag because people were using it for malicious activities, but now everybody understands that VPN is basically a privacy idea, that you do not want someone to be gathering data from you or whatever you are browsing and selling this data to marketers and stuff like that. So now because of the huge demand that is currently there for the whole privacy sector, this is why these guys are gonna, I believe, top this market. So before I get into it, there's one one thing that I want to clarify, like I said, there are different relays through which data is channeled. So the first relay, like I said, is called the entry relay, the second relay is called the middle relay, and the third relay is called the exit relay. Most of the relays that are going to be set up are going to be middle relay. So if you set up your ATO relay, or you set up, sorry, I still call it ATO because the migration was pretty new, but if you set up an ANyOne relay, basically what you are setting up is by default going to be a middle relay. So what these guys also highly advise is that if you do not know what you are doing, if you are not a networking geek and stuff like that, do not try to set up an entry relay or an exit relay, because if anyone is using this for a malicious activity, basically you would be the exit point or you would be the entry point, which could be quite risky. So that is why they highly advise that for novices out there, the best way is to set up a middle relay. And like I said, if you set up ANyOne protocol relay, by default what is going to be set up for you is going to be a middle relay, so that you do not have any issues with respect to people trying to use the traffic for any malicious activity. Now, like I said, there are several ways that you can get into this project. You can purchase either their original ATO protocol hardware. If you do not want to purchase the hardware, you can also set up this on your own on your PC, or you can set it up on a VPS. I must say that I've set up several projects on a VPS, but the ANyOne protocol VPS setup is the simplest that I have seen or encountered so far. So I set up these. I have currently, I think, about 3 of these VPSs that are running, and I have never had to touch the VPS after the first day that I set it up. So this relay is extremely stable and you do not have to do anything to it. I also have 2 of these hardware relays. A lot of people also ask if it will be possible to run multiple relays at home. Yes, it is technically possible, but it's not advised if you want to run all these relays under the same IP address. So in my case, I have 2 ISPs at home, and that is why I have 2 of these relays, with each relay running on a separate ISP. So if you want to have 2 relays all under the same ISP, it basically doesn't make sense, and you're not going to get double rewards, right? And if you think about the whole concept about decentralization, this would technically not make sense. So if you want to purchase multiple of these relays or multiple of these hardware relays, make sure that either you have a different place that you want to deploy this, or you have a different ISP at home that you want to set this up on. So those who would be going for the hardware relay, there are several advantages that a lot of people are not mentioning. So the advantage is that if you have a hardware relay, you're going to receive way more rewards than those who will be setting this up on a PC or on a VPS. So the virtual relays are going to get less rewards than the hardware relays, at least for the first 5 years. So for the first year, if you have a hardware relay, you're going to get 2 times more rewards than those who will be setting up a virtual relay. And then in the second to the 5th year, you're going to get 0.5 more rewards than those who will be setting up the virtual relay. So if you have the hardware relay, to repeat, for instance, if the daily distribution of the token is going to be 50 ANyOne protocol tokens a day, this is a rough approximation. It means that in the first year, if you have the hardware relay, you are going to receive 100 of these tokens every day, instead of receiving 50, which most of the people that are going to be setting up the virtual relay would be. In the second to the 5th year, you are going to receive 0.5x way more tokens than those who would also be setting up the hardware relay. So that means that here as well, for instance, if 50 tokens are going to be distributed a day, if you have a hardware relay, you're going to receive 75 tokens a day from the second year to the 5th year. But for the first year, you're going to receive a 2x rewards. And I think this is going to be of a huge advantage. That's why if you want to get a hardware relay, you would get a lot of advantages. Now, the second advantage that would also come with the hardware relay is that there would be in future the possibility for you to be able to channel your home traffic through the hardware relay. So for me, for instance, I'm using ExpressVPN, and I think I'm paying about $150 a year for my ExpressVPN to be able to channel the traffic that I have at home through the VPN service. Now, because now that I have the hardware relay, should this become activated, I can basically channel my home traffic through the hardware relay without me having to pay for an extra service with an extra VPN provider out there. Now, if you want to purchase the hardware relay, there are 2 things that you're going to need. The first thing that you're going to need is an ANyONe NFT, and the second thing that you're going to need is 250 ANyOne protocol token. So currently, because the whole crypto market is down, the prices are pretty low. So currently, the lowest price that you can get for an NFT is 0.1546. And if I put this in here with the current price of Ethereum, this is around 541 USDT, which is rather low compared to how much I paid mine. So the time that I bought my NFT was really at the peak of the market, and I paid 0.88 ETH for my NFT, which basically costed at that time $3,000 US. Holy jeez. I mean, if I had waited, it would have come down, but I do not regret it anyway, because I think the project has a huge potential that I should be able to ROI. So those who would be purchasing your NFT now, you would really get a good entry point, because your initial investments will be relatively lower than some of us who bought this way earlier on. Now, the second thing, like I said, is you're going to need 250 ANyOne tokens. So currently, at the current current price of $1.48 today, this is going to amount to $370 US. So basically it means that when you want to get a hardware relay, you're going to pay around $800 compared to, for instance, in my case, where I think I paid. So when I bought my ANyOne, that time was ATOR token, it was really at the peak of the market, and I think I paid about $3 per token. So my initial investment was way higher compared to those who would be getting in now. So like I said, if you really want to get a hardware relay, this is the best time because the whole crypto market is down. On OpenSeas, you would see that the prices of the NFTs are pretty low. Trust me, if the mainnet goes live, so currently the ATOR protocol is on a testnet. Should the mainnet go live, the rewards that are going to come, those who are selling these NFTs are going to increase the price dramatically. So the time that I bought my NFTs for 0.8, that was the lowest price that was available because it was really at the peak of time of the season. So if you want to get a hardware, this is really the best time for you to get it because the price of Ethereum is low, price of the NFTs are low, and the price of the ANyOne token is low. So after you have purchased the NFT would basically be appended to your wallet, and all you have to do is to come to the shipment portal, connect your wallet. You'll be taken through the process in which they are going to verify that you have an NFT, and they are also going to take the 250 ATOR that, like I said, you're going to have to purchase at the beginning, and then basically you provide your shipment address and everything would be going through very easily. So the whole shipment is rather easy. So currently, if you purchase your NFT now, you would basically should receive your device in 2 to 3 weeks. The shipment was incredibly easy, and the logistics team was also the best. So I received my hardware very quickly without me having to write to them where is my relay and stuff like that. So like I said, if you want to get in, this is, trust me, the best time that you want to get in. The entry price for the hardware relay is currently around $800. Get in now if you want to get in, because those who bought this at the beginning like me, we paid about $3K in order to be able to get the hardware. Now if you do not want to buy the hardware, there are also several ways that you can get in. Like I said, you can set up a virtual relay. You can set up the virtual relay on your personal computer. You can set up the virtual relay on a Raspberry Pi. You can also set up the virtual relay on a VPS server. So my personal recommendation, if you want to do this, is to do this on a VPS server. Basically, I wouldn't recommend setting up the virtual relay on a PC that you are using for other things. So I would like to have an exclusive unit that would be running this. So that means that, for instance, if you want to run this on a Raspberry Pi, just run the ATOR protocol on the Raspberry Pi. If you want to run this on your PC, just make sure that you're running only that application on the PC. Now, very, very important, like I said, per IP address, please do not run more than one relay. So being it a hardware relay or a virtual relay, limits this to one relay per IP address, because immediately you try to get more relays on one network, so basically 2 or more relays on one network, both of them would basically be competing with each other, and it would make no sense, right? So that's why I say, if you want to get a hardware relay, run the hardware relay at a single location and then run all your virtual relays on a different location. So personally, I'm running my 2 hardware relays at home on 2 independent ISPs, and I'm running my virtual relays on a VPS. So for the virtual relays on a VPS, I have a provider where you're going to be paying about $12 a year for setting up your VPS, and this is basically the cheapest price that I found here. And what is extremely important is this point here. Like I said, if you want to set up the hardware relay, you're going to need to transfer 250 ANyOne tokens during the order. If you want to set up a virtual relay, you're going to need to lock 100 ANyOne tokens. And here as well, if you have 5 virtual relays or you have 5 VPS that you want to run, it means that you need to lock 500 ANyOne tokens. 100 ANyOne tokens per relay. And then here as well, if you want to do this, I think the best time to do this is now, because the ANyOne protocol token is low because the whole crypto market is down. So what you need is 100 ANyOne tokens. We're talking about $150 at today's price. I think the price is going to ramp up very quickly very soon. So like I said, when I bought mine, I paid $3 per token. So if you really want to get into it, this is the best time to do it, guys, both on the hardware side and on the virtual relay end. So currently things are still on testnet. There's going to be a time that the mainnet is going to launch, and at the mainnet you would need to lock or stake these 100 ANyOne tokens per relay before your node can start working. This is a bit of a pain when you hear about it the first time, but I like this very much because it's going to basically restrict people from trying to game the system. So people are going to try to set up 100 relays out there for fun, but this is going to make sure that whoever is setting up the relay is really in for business. Now secondly, I like this concept in the sense that if you lock 100 100 relays, basically you lock the token for, I don't know how long it's going to be, maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months. And this is also very good on the tokenomics side, right? Because whenever we know that a number of tokens are locked, it's basically good for the token. It would mean that the token would have a huge upside potential than people just trying to buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, and stuff like that. This basically does not help the network. Now, what I also want to mention is that what I haven't covered here is it's possible now to set up the ANyONe relay on a Helium IoT device. So if you have, we know currently there are about 900 Helium IoT devices that are out there just idle. So personally, I had about 4 Helium hotspots that are basically doing nothing now, right? So if you have a Helium miner, it would be possible to be able to bring your Helium miner to the ANyONe, to the ANyONe network using the crank setup. I would also be uploading a tutorial soon on how you can do this. So if you have a Helium miner, you can also run ANyONe protocol on your Helium hotspots. Now, the final and most interesting part of the whole video is now, how are the rewards going to look like? So one of the community members made this very nice calculator where basically you can put in a number of relays that you have and see what the rewards would be. For instance, in my case, let's say I have 2 hardware relays. I'm going to choose 2 here, and then here you can choose between a virtual relay and a hardware relay. So for instance, year 1, if you choose year 1, it means that you have a virtual relay. If you choose year 1 with an NFT, it means that you have a hardware relay. So let's say in my case, I have a hardware relay. I have 2 of these hardware relays, and then here all you have to do is to put in the token price. So currently the token is around 1.45, but I can't choose 1.45. So let me just go with the lowest, which is $1 per token. And then here you just try to look at what the rewards would be depending on the relays that are out there. So for instance, if there are 1,000 relays, there's a lot. You're looking at 12,000 USD a year, but I currently know that there are 2,500 relays out there. I could soon see that there would be about 4,000 relays that would be out there. And then in that case, the rewards per year is going to be about $3,000, but I do not think the token is going to stay at $1. I mean, looking at the tokenomics of this project, I think the token can get to $5 or $10 very quickly. I mean, currently, if we're looking at, let's say, $5 per token, we're looking at about $15,000 in my case, where I have 2 relays. But it could be that when the token price goes up, the number of relays that would be out there would also be going up. So let's say if we have 7,000 relays that are going to be out there, we're still looking at about $8,000, which is still a huge amount. If you do not have the hardware relay, for instance, you have a virtual relay that you want to set up on a VPS. So for instance, I have about 4 virtual relays that I have on my VPS running. If the current token price is going to be $5, right, and there are, let's say, 7,000 relays out there, you're looking at about $8,000 a year. I think the rewards are going to be very, very good for this particular project, especially because the tokenomics is strong, and I think the token is going to ramp up very quickly. So if you want to get into this project, like I said, the time is now. So for me, for instance, we invested 3,000 per relay. It will take me a bit longer for me to be able to get my ROI, because I just bought it at the peak of the market. So what I'm personally doing, for instance, is that I'm buying the token, I'm buying a lot of the token, so that when the token price ramps up, I would be able to sell and basically ROI quickly than those who would be purchasing it now. But if you purchase this now, like I said, this is the best time to get into ANyONe, because the price of the NFTs are very low and the price of the token is also very, very low. Now, that's it about this video. If you do have any questions about the ANyONe protocol, you can put this in the comment section and I'll be extremely happy to help you out. I would also be uploading a lot of videos soon, revised videos on how to set up the node on the VPS, how to set up the node on the PC and stuff like that, the Raspberry Pi and all those things. But like I said, I have a huge resource about all these setups on my YouTube channel, including even how to set up the hardware relay. You can have a look at this whilst waiting for the next videos that I'm going to do. So that's it on this video. Thanks for watching this video and see you in the next one. Bye.